Hi there. So I'm going to take a few minutes in the following video to show you a little bit about the process of getting into a 3D cast and what it's like with various doctor visits and the process that it takes of how to fit it, how to get the prescription for it and all that stuff. You'll see I started out with this one. I'm going to try to put an image of the first thing that I was in from the emergency room. And then from there, I was then put into this one, and I'll try to put an image up on the screen of that. And then finally, into this one, the 3D cast. And I'll hopefully have an image right there of the 3D cast. So it was my left wrist, as you guys will see. But most importantly, I think what it's good to know is the 3D cast is not going to be necessarily as comfortable as like the padding of a normal cast. That being said, you can put moleskin in it, as you'll see in the video, to add a little bit of padding to soften it up a little bit. But the convenience of it is so far and away greater than being in a traditional wrapped cast. With a wrapped cast, it holds on to water forever. Having to stand in the shower with your arm in the air is the worst. And if you get a waterproof one, it takes a couple hours for it to dry. So if you put your arm on your lap, your pants are getting wet. It's just a pain. With the 3D cast, it dries right out. You can scratch itches with it, and you can sweat in it, and it doesn't stink. Absolutely the way that I would suggest going. Anyway, I'm going to take you through this process. You can ask any questions down below, and I will answer them as best I can, and if not, I can forward you to the people who actually do this. So anyway, with no further ado, here's the process, and I hope you guys find it informational and educational. Okay, so we are now 6 days after the fracture. I have been put in the splint that you see them cutting me out of, that was placed on me the preceding Saturday at the emergency room. You're going to see, actually at the end of this little section here, you'll see how dirty my hand was. They kind of neglected to clean off my arm completely. They did a great job of cleaning off the road rash that is underneath the gauze on my left elbow. Typically, road rash accompanies a cycling crash, as it did with mine. It wasn't too bad, thankfully. I'd honestly, I think, probably rather deal with a fractured distal radius than a bunch of road rash. So anyway, needless to say, they're cutting me out of this. And I'm visiting this orthopedic doctor for two reasons. One, to get a prescription to qualify for a 3D printed cast. And two, we need to make sure that my arm has gone down swelling-wise. And they can't put you in a cast right away after a break. So that's why I was in that splint. And usually it takes anywhere between 4 and probably 10 days for the swelling to go down. And what we found when we took me out of the cast is I actually am just a bit too swollen. So I'm going to be returning the following Monday, which is 3 days later, 3 days after this video. But in the meantime, the good news is they're going to clean off the stuff that they forgot to clean. They're just pointing out the swelling there. They're going to clean off the stuff that wasn't cleaned at the emergency room. And they're going to put me in a waterproof cast, which is great because that way I don't have to stand with my arm up in the shower. So that's this process right here. Okay, so I'm back in my car. I've just finished with the orthopedic, and they've put me in a temporary cast here that you can see. It actually looks like a regular cast. This is a waterproof cast. I'm going to come back on Monday. Today's Friday, so I'll be back here in 3 days. We're going to let the swelling go down a little bit. They've put me in this cast to just keep it protected and keep it wrapped while over the course of the weekend. We want the swelling to go down a little bit more. And then we're going to see Monday, James from Complete PT. They're going to do a digital scan of my wrist. They're going to send the 3D printed cast to me on I think I should get it on like Wednesday or Thursday. We'll see about that. And then we'll put me in the 3D cast, and then we'll show what life is like with a 3D cast. So we'll reconvene then. All right, so this is now 3 days later, the following Monday, and we're cutting me out of the cast so that we can do the scan for the 3D printed cast. And then you'll see at the end of this, rather than putting me in a new cast, they will just tape up the old one, the one that they're cutting off of me, because I'm only going to be in it for a few days.
Yeah, this is the scanner, as we call it.
Yeah.
And it fires 2 beams, and the apex right around here.
Okay.
And so when those 2 connect, that's where it's going to measure. It's going to be a grid point.
Okay.
I'm going to do it, rotate it all around your arm,
Yep.
up inside your palm.
Yep.
And then capture a 3D image of your arm.
Yep.
And then we'll model it on here. And
Okay.
if it looks good, then we send it off to the printer.
So now that James has done the scan, it gets sent to the computer, which will generate this image, and it will do a digital measurement, as you can see that plane going around my wrist. And then James will double check that with a physical measurement of my wrist. And we'll see that process going on right now. All right, so now we're going to put this thing back on me. I'm going to wash my hand again. It actually doesn't stink. It's clean, which is good because I've been showering, and that's proof of that. So we're going to get this thing taped back up. We'll probably record that process. James is going to send these measurements off to Colorado, where they will print them, and then they will send back. And we'll do that on, what, like Wednesday or Thursday, you think, James?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, that's after, of course, you've picked a color.
Anyway, so we'll reconvene when we get the when we're getting the 3D cast put on. So until then, that's it. Thanks, James.
Thank you.
Gonna undo this. You guys remember James? James, here's the CEO of Complete PT, and he's getting us set up with the 3D printed cast. And I'm gonna need somebody's help to unwrap my other hand. That's funny. All right. So.
And you slide it this way, right?
Yeah. There we go. Man, it looks like it's just so skinny. Oh. I think the atrophy is happening.
Oh.
A little stinky. Oh, this is it.
Yeah.
Oh, look what's happening here. It's like opening the Christmas present.
Good. There's one half.
So this is probably the top or the bottom. There's the
thumb's
thumb.
going to go through that.
Okay. Now that feels good. That's nice and solid.
And this is just going to loosely put that right there.
Oh, look at that. It's not too bad. I was very worried. I was very worried that it was going to be really loose. That's not bad at all. That's quite surprising.
So I'm going to take the top one off for now.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
These are what we call J clips.
Yep.
We've talked about these a little bit. So when I get these put on sort of halfway, there's a little catch right here.
Yeah.
So they stay in that position when they're not in use.
Yeah. Okay.
Right in here.
Yeah.
First few times putting it on and off is a little bit of a learning curve.
Yeah. Well, hopefully I'll just leave it on. Like a good boy.
Yeah, you might take it off though occasionally.
Uh-huh.
You never know.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to put it on and then we're going to push this through the hole. So go ahead and put that one on.
All right. Nope. Okay.
So get it lined up.
Yeah. Snap. Oh, and it says Made in America. So, what I do feel right off the bat is I think I'm going to probably need to take up a little bit of space here. So that's got some movement there. So I think we'll need to put some like tape or something to pad that.
Yeah.
Just so it holds it a little more secure. But the thumb and this part, like this mold here, is
Mm-hmm.
Spot on.
Do you want to, there's two things we can do.
Mm-hmm.
One is I can put the tape on right now, okay?
Yeah.
Or I can cut the tape and you take it home.
Yeah.
And then if you like, after you've sat with it for a couple hours, you'd be like, yeah, I do want that.
I can start patting
you
it
can put
a
it on,
little.
or I can put it on and you can take it off.
Yeah.
I think it looks pretty because it's over here. It's definitely nice and tight.
Well,
but let me get the tape.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we can cut a piece and then we can put it on, and take it back off if you like.
Yeah. Why don't we try seeing how it does? Because what I don't want to do is start fidgeting with this.
Yeah.
And not being able to. Oh, that's pretty.
So when you want to take it off, you're gonna sort of like pull a little bit towards you, and then up and back, and then make sure it's in that groove. See how it sits in the groove, that way it doesn't fly away.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's a interesting development to do that.
You'll get used to it.
Yeah.
So pull it towards you a little bit for the J, and then there you go.
Did I get that one seated right?
Perfect, you did.
Okay. Yep. All right. So.
Let me go get the tape.
Yeah, let's take a look at the tape.
We can try it and then take it off if need be.
Okay, cool, great, thank you.
So when you were looking at this,
Yep.
this side, you were talking about putting it under here, right?
So
no,
my
under
thumb,
this,
so it would be
under here.
yeah, like this area here. So
Yeah.
this part of my hand felt a little bit of space. All right, so here's where my hand is.
So we're just gonna go right in here, right?
I think, but I don't know if it needs to go that far across the hand. I think it's more in this area here.
Just rest this.
Yeah, let's see. So yeah, let's do that.
So you want to go just up to like the C or something? So the C to the M?
Let's go from, is that A? Let's go from the A to the A.
The A to the A, okay.
Yeah,
so like 3/4 of this.
Yeah, yep,
Okay.
exactly. There we go. Yeah, that definitely feels better. Definitely took up some space.
Okay.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I think I should take the tape though, if I can.
Yeah,
take
I can
some.
give you like 2 or 3 strips like that.
Yeah,
or
that
3 or
would be
4.
great. That would be great. So. Yeah, that's great, James. That helped out.
I wish you'd had it for the last couple of days with all that 100-degree heat.
Yeah, right. I can't wait. I can't wait to shower with it. All right, so I am now 26 days into the broken wrist, and I've been in my 3D printed cast for two weeks today. I had a checkup with orthopedic yesterday, and he said it's healing well. The break is a little more serious than had first been suggested because I did the plate of the end of this bone as well. So the crack kind of makes a Y, which explains why I've been getting pain down here. Anyway, this is more about the cast. The cast has been great. One of the things that I've talked to Active Armor about, the company that actually manufactures it, as well as Complete PT, the guys that did the measurement, James, is when doing the measurement, you should probably do measurement at least twice to find out the smaller of them, because mine is a little bit big. And I'm going to show you what I've done to remedy that, which is if you end up getting one, it's going to get bigger anyway because your arm atrophies. And we also think that it's quite possible that mine was a bit too swollen when we measured as well. So that makes it equally bad. The arm is getting smaller, as well as the arm was a little too big when we measured. So to fix that, I've put in these moleskins that you can see, and they're great. They are nice and soft, so it's against my arm is really good. And this is the more important piece because this is what holds your thumb in place. And I've just put these little tabs. You just cut little moleskin tabs and place them where you find that you've got a little bit of space, and it's good. It helps take up any extra volume that's there. You can see that down on the cuff. And it really secures the arm in there very nicely. You can see kind of how quickly I'm taking it on and off. As much as we want to take them off, don't, because you'll feel once your hand is out of it, just the slight movement is really painful with the break. So I also realized that I've got bone fragment in there, which I didn't think I have, but it explains why when there's really slight movement, it's pretty painful. So anyway, as far as taking up the volume, the biggest areas of concern are at the cuff here, because when we put our arm up, if you guys remember in the video, and I'll probably show a replay of it right here, my arm was like this when James did the measurement, and you know, the mass will slide down your arm, so it'll make your forearm a little more pop-eyed, bigger. So you know, you can see when I go like this, if you could, you can see that there's space in there. I don't know if you can see that, but I can get my finger in there, and it creates that space, and that's a little disconcerting when you first get fit for the cast. But again, I just cut a couple strips of moleskin, and it really helps take up that volume. At the end of the day, the biggest thing is it's healing well. I'm going back in 2 weeks, at which point we think we're going to be able to take me out of it, but we'll do another set of x-rays, which will be my third set at this point. And it makes sense. They'll do the first to confirm that there's a break, the second to make sure that everything's healing, and then the third to make sure that you're good to get out of the cast. So that's where I'll be in 2 weeks from now. And that's pretty much all I've got for you right now. So my final day in the cast. This is 47 days after the fracture. Doctor says everything looks good. We're going over the x-rays, which we had just taken. He says I can get out of it. I brought in some wrist braces and got his opinion on that. Everyone's going to be a little different, and he said, go with this one, that's fine. So this was it. I didn't take it off right here. I drove home and filmed what you're about to see right now. Well, that's great. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Thanks, man.
You're all set, and
Cool.
I guess easiest patient maybe I've ever had.
All right, so as you probably just saw, I'm good to go, and I'm the best patient ever, as the doctor said, or something to that effect. So now I can come out of the cast, the 3D printed cast, which is a very scary proposition because my arm feels naked and exposed and vulnerable and severely atrophied. So it looks like a little boy's arm. Oh, it's so bad. So I'm a little scared. When I move my hand up like this, all these tendons are super, super tight. It doesn't even feel like my arm can flex this way. That's as far as I can go. So I've got some rehab to do. I've been doing little exercises with my fingers, you know, finding stuff online. But man, it feels really scary to do all this. In fact, it hurts here and it hurts like down here. So it's just because it's been immobilized for so long. So when we get out, in fact, it's loosening up right now as I'm doing this. Not to say that I'm going to be free moving over the course of the next 10 minutes, but it's going to take a few weeks. Obviously, I've got a lot of strength to gather back here through all of this. So one thing he said is when you're hanging around the house, just kind of keep your arm out because it needs to start building that strength and flexibility back up. And I'll be doing exercises and looking into rehab. When I'm going to get back on the bike, I will use this, and if I'm at the gym, I'll be using a wrist brace with a metal piece in it that will help solidify it, as well as something else that I was going to say. Oh, I was going to talk about this whole time for the past 6 weeks. So it happened October 14th, and it's now November 30th. So for 6 weeks, I've been in some form of a cast or another. So the first few days, I was in the one that was at the emergency room. And then for the next week, I was in a cast that was given to me at the orthopedic center. And then James and Complete PT printed out this for me. And then, so for essentially a month and probably a week, I've been in this. I've been able to exercise, and I've been able to be on the exercise bike, not at the gym. So I have lost 9.5 pounds since I've just been cycling and not at the gym. So it's been nice to be able to exercise while I've been indisposed with my wrist. So this cast has helped that out tremendously. So I probably won't put it in a frame, but I'll definitely keep it. Everywhere I go, people are asking about it and they say, wow, that thing is incredible. Ask all the questions that you want down below, and I'll be glad to respond and help out in any way that I can. Thank you, Active Armor. Thank you, Complete PT and James. This was great. Thanks, guys. Talk to you later.